Greetings to everyone and thank you for joining us. We are here to deliver the latest updates on global developments through our YouTube channel. Recent bulletins indicate that the U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin has urged 2,000 soldiers to be ready for deployment to the Middle East. These troops are expected to serve supportive roles such as medical and logistical assistance to Israel, rather than be directly involved in conflicts. It's been revealed that these soldiers are being chosen from diverse units of the U.S. Army. However, it's vital to clarify that being ready for deployment doesn't necessarily mean these 2,000 soldiers will be immediately sent to the Middle East. These measures are viewed as an attempt to deter a larger regional dispute, as Washington intends to convey a firm message to Iran and the Hezbollah militant group in Lebanon. Nevertheless, the dispatch of soldiers to Israel raises questions about a deeper U.S. involvement in a conflict that the current administration is striving to sidestep. Officials from the U.S. have underscored that there are no plans for direct combat. However, there may be a requirement for direct assistance, such as managing logistics from afar or medical aid, particularly if Israel launches a ground assault on the Gaza Strip. These events transpire as the U.S. military expands its presence in the Middle East, deploying an additional aircraft carrier to the eastern Mediterranean and sending fighter jets to the region. Moreover, the U.S. has stationed the Eisenhower Carrier Strike Group near Israel, and another carrier strike group is anticipated to reach the vicinity soon. On a separate note, Russia's foreign minister, Sergei Lavrov, recently met his Chinese counterpart, Wang Yi, in Beijing. They discussed a variety of international and regional matters, including the escalating situation in the Middle East. Wang Yi highlighted the necessity for the UN Security Council to act promptly and restore negotiations between the relevant parties, along with establishing an urgent humanitarian channel in Gaza. The Russian president also held telephonic conversations with several regional leaders aiming to de-escalate the conflict. The central issue during these discussions was the deteriorating conflict between Israel and Hamas, with leaders voicing grave concern about the escalating hostilities, rising civilian casualties, and the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. Heads of Egypt, Syria, and Iran have also advocated for an immediate ceasefire and a humanitarian break in the region. On October 16, reports from the Times of Israel indicated that Hamas continued to launch a significant number of rockets toward Israel. This prompted the activation of air raid sirens in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem, temporarily suspending the activities of an ongoing meeting. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, along with other lawmakers, sought shelter in bunkers for safety. These rocket attacks, described as the largest by Hamas, were in response to Israeli military actions. Israel acknowledged the successful deployment of the Iron Beam laser system to counter the attacks. Although specifics were not disclosed, this marks a crucial turning point, recognizing the combat use of the Iron Beam laser technology for the first time. This system is viewed as a technologically advanced air defense solution, capable of countering low-altitude threats. The successful implementation of the Iron Beam system could be a significant progress in modern military technology, reflecting its effectiveness and potential for future use. In a different international scenario, Russian President Vladimir Putin stressed the need for Ukraine to avoid any alliances that could jeopardize the security of other nations. He reaffirmed Russia's peaceful stance on the Ukraine conflict, pointing out Ukraine's uncompromising attitude in negotiations. Putin noted that Ukraine had reversed its commitments made earlier in the year, which has become a significant hindrance to peaceful dialogue. Anticipating the delivery of dozens of fourth-generation F-16 fighter jets to Ukraine, NATO countries plan to conduct pilot training in the United States and Denmark. The Russian military, in response, is fine-tuning its electronic warfare systems to disrupt the F-16 SE radars and equipment. The effort to counter these electronic systems is expected to be simpler than those used on Soviet-designed aircraft currently in Ukraine's possession. This development underscores the ongoing tensions and military preparations in the region. Russia's electronic warfare systems have successfully disrupted Ukrainian fighter jets, forcing them to abandon combat missions and return to their bases. This is due to interference from mobile ground-based electronic systems. Meanwhile, several countries have pledged to send F-16 fighter jets to Ukraine, with a total of 71 expected to be delivered as early as 2024. Training for Ukrainian pilots kicked off in Denmark and the United States in 2023. However, General James Heckler, the U.S. Air Force's in Europe commander, warned that training proficient fighter pilots could take at least 4 to 5 years. This means that while the F-16s could aid Ukraine, they might not dramatically change the scale of the conflict. The situation with NATO in Ukraine is intensifying, and Russia's air defense and electronic warfare systems have quickly adapted to Western military technology. Yuri Inas, a spokesperson for the Ukrainian Air Force, emphasized Russia's considerable edge in electronic warfare. Electronic warfare, often dubbed the invisible assassin, uses electronic energy to disrupt or interfere with an opponent's operations. It can render electronic equipment useless, and is conducted from the ground, sea, air, and space, without the use of explosives or direct combat. It's important to note that the F-16 fighter jets Ukraine is set to receive are over 40 years old. Although they are equipped with modern electronic warfare systems, Russia's capabilities are considered able to counter F-16s from the 1980s, which are being prepared for transfer to Ukraine.